The lawyer called 3 days after the funeral. I was still wearing black. The smell of lilies and burnt coffee clung to my clothes. His tone was flat, professional, too casual for death. "Mrs. Harlow," he said, "there are developments regarding your son's estate. You should come in." I remembered the silence that followed, the kind that presses against your ribs, the kind that makes you realize the world has already moved on without you. When I arrived, his wife was already there, my late son's widow, Elaine. Perfect posture, black dress, pearls. The kind of woman who looked like she rehearsed grief in front of a mirror. She didn't look at me, didn't even stand when I entered. The lawyer cleared his throat. Papers rustled. "Your son's assets total $55 million, he said. The house, stocks, business shares, all left to his wife. Elaine's lips curved into something between relief and victory. I just nodded. No reaction, no tears. I had already lost more than money could measure. That night she came to me with a smile sharp enough to cut. "You don't belong here anymore. Go die in a dumpster for all I care." The words didn't sting. They landed quietly, like ashes on snow. I packed my things, a single suitcase, a photo of my son, folded in half. When I closed the door behind me, the house exhaled, and I swore I heard it whisper, "Not yet." Grief is strange. It doesn't scream. It hums. I moved into a one-bedroom apartment downtown, thin walls, flickering lights, neighbors who argued about nothing. I lived small, quiet. People assumed I was broken. They mistook silence for weakness. But silence is a weapon if you hold it long enough. Every night I thought about Elaine, her words, her smile, her rehearsed sorrow, and the way my son's lawyer avoided my eyes that day. Something about the way he shuffled the papers. Something unsaid. I started remembering details. My son's voice a month before he died. "Mom, I'm making sure you're taken care of, no matter what happens." At the time, I'd laughed it off. He was young, healthy, invincible. He didn't die from illness. He died behind the wheel, his car wrapped around a tree on an empty road at midnight. Elaine said he'd been drinking, but he didn't drink, never did. And yet I never questioned her story until that moment in the lawyer's office. Now, alone in my apartment, I replayed every word she said at the funeral, every tear she didn't shed. Something was wrong. Something was missing. I started visiting places my son used to go, his office, the cafe on Fifth Avenue, the park where he jogged every morning. People still remembered him. They remembered her, too. One of his employees slipped up over coffee. He was planning to change something in his will, she said. Her eyes darted, like she'd said too much. He met with his lawyer the day before the accident. The day before. Not the week before. Not the month. The day. That detail lodged itself in my mind like a splinter. I didn't confront anyone. I just watched. Waited. A week later, I called the lawyer. Said I wanted to understand a few details. He was hesitant, polite, but when I mentioned my son's last appointment, there was a pause. "Mrs. Harlow," he said carefully, "some clauses are private. They only activate under certain conditions." "Such as?" He exhaled. "I can't disclose that without authorization." But his voice trembled, and that was enough. That night, I went to the house, the one Elaine now called hers. The gate was locked, but I knew the code. My son had told me years ago. She hadn't changed it. Inside, everything was the same. His photograph still on the wall, his jacket still on the chair.
But there was something new. A drawer, locked. A letter opener shaped like a dagger resting beside it. I pried the drawer open. Inside, a folder stamped with my son's signature. Legal papers. The first page, amendment to last will and testament, dated the day before he died. My breath caught. But before I could read further, headlights swept across the window. Elaine's car. I slipped out the back door, clutching the folder, leaving only the faint scent of my son's cologne in the air. I read the will in my apartment, under the yellow light of a dying lamp. It was simple, precise, and devastatingly clear. All my money and property shall go to my wife only if she takes care of my mother until her last breath. If she ever throws my mother out of the house, everything will automatically transfer to my mother's name. He had known. Somewhere deep down, he had known what kind of woman he married. My hands trembled, not from sorrow, from realization. Elaine had inherited everything the moment he died, but the moment she told me to leave, she had forfeited it all. The next morning, I went back to the lawyer. He looked pale when I placed the folder on his desk. "I assume you've read this," I said. He hesitated, then nodded. "It's authentic." "Then what happens now?" He exhaled slowly. "Technically, Mrs. Harlow, everything transfers to you." I studied him. His eyes flickered toward the window as if afraid someone might be watching. "I imagine," he said, "she'll contest it, but the clause is ironclad." I smiled, just slightly. "That won't be necessary." I didn't call her. I wanted her to find out the way she made me find out. Cold, impersonal, humiliating. The letter from the attorney's office arrived at her door 2 days later. I waited outside in my car, parked beneath the sycamores, the house framed in shadow and gold evening light. Through the window, I saw her read the letter. Her posture stiffened. Her hand went to her mouth. Then came the scream. It was muffled by glass, but I felt it vibrate through the night. A small, bitter symphony of justice. I didn't move, didn't smile, just watched. She called the lawyer's office 5 times that evening. Then she called me. I let it ring once, twice, 7 times. Then I answered. Her voice cracked through the receiver. "What did you do?" "I listened," I said. Silence. Then a whisper. "You can't do this." "I didn't," I said softly. "You did." She began to cry, the kind of cry that wasn't grief, it was fear. "I'll lose everything," she said. I already did. And then I ended the call. No threats, no gloating. Just the click of finality. The house is mine again now, but it feels different, colder, quieter. His voice still lingers in the corners, the faint echo of laughter in the hallway, the ghost of who he was. Elaine moved out within a week. She left the pearls, the dresses, the photographs she never loved. I didn't throw them away. I just packed them in boxes and stored them in the attic, memorials to deceit. People call it revenge. It isn't. It's balance. Justice without fire, retribution without noise. Sometimes I sit in the garden where my son used to read, the will folded neatly beside me. I trace his signature with my finger, like a prayer. He knew. He saw the darkness before I did, and he made sure I wouldn't be swallowed by it. The lawyer called again last week, said Elaine was contesting. I told him she wouldn't win because she already lost. He asked if I wanted to sell the house, maybe move somewhere smaller. I said no. This house belongs to my son, I told him. I'm just keeping it warm. When I hang up, I walk through the empty rooms. Every sound echoes too long. I stop by the front door. There's a faint mark on the wall where my suitcase scraped the night she threw me out. I leave it there, a scar the house will always remember. Outside, the wind shifts, carrying the scent of rain. For a moment, I imagine he's here, watching, silent, satisfied. I whisper to the air, "It's over." Then I close the door, and this time, it stays closed.